Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and thank you all so much for taking the time to stop by and chat about GameStop with me today. How are your calls doing? How are your calls doing? Plus 48% on our second buy, and our first buy-in's up by 18%, which is substantial. Just classic earnings run-up stuff for you guys. Very much looking forward to doing this more, and something I've been doing publicly for free for everyone for like a years now. This wasn't even the beginning of it. This, I just scrolled up and found, an example of, what I've been doing for everybody, and, opening up the Discord to the public for everyone. If we can get 1,000 subscribers on the channel, I've been doing this for a long, long time, and consistently so. Very easy to do, very basic. For beginners to replicate. So looking forward to sharing all of that with you. I'm going to revive this channel. I did take a little bit of a break from the Discord. I used to focus on it more, but then I was like, okay, I'm going to do the YouTube channel. And then I kind of quit doing that, but now we're going to do both, right? I should probably get onto Twitter as well to kind of raise awareness as, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. Discord is not the only thing that we have planned, though. In December, we want to do maybe some live streaming for everyone, which is super interesting. So leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and buckle up because we've got some things to say. Our 15-minute reversal set the other day, and we had a beautiful entry model. Now, if you've been watching the channel, this will be the third time that we've replicated this exact entry model for a very nice play. This was previously a bearish order block. We tested, rejected, tested, invalidated it into a now bullish breaker block, and then we expand off of it. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, A, because it was our entry model on our options. B, because if we go to the 4-hour, right, what do we have here? Well, we've got a bearish order block that we are potentially going to invalidate, converting it into our breaker block, and then we could see expansion off of that on a larger time frame, just like we did on the 15 minutes, right? Just like we did right here, okay? But, of course, we could reject as it is that point. Now, the reason we get the expansion off of this is there is a lot of shorts in at this level. So, if the price goes above that level, they're going to capitulate, right? And then this is an area of common rejection, so there's going to be a lot of buy orders above this level because they don't want to be buying into the rejection. They want those rejections to invalidate, and when it does, the two come together for a perfect storm, and that's where you get these nice price improvement runs. All right. Again, something that we've done a couple times on the channel here for GameStop, a very consistent setup for us. So aside from that, the 15-minute is looking good, and then we move it out. We're talking about the 30-minute because there was too much noise, right? And this is much clearer for us. Oh, the 130 minutes. What is this? This is some new technical analysis I've never seen. It's the elite time frame, but the 30-minute reduces a lot of that noise, where we are always, we get these false sets on the 15-minute, right? Where we're doing our 15-minute EMA reversal, pairing it with a key level breakout. But we, false set here, another one here, another here. So that's why we're switching to the 30-minute, just to eliminate that noise, right? I prefer the 15-minute because you get in a little earlier. But when things get choppy like that, keep it safe. So then you're not getting those false entries, right? So here we do have the reversal signal, and then the key level breakout that holds, and again, our expansion. So I'm a broken record. I say the same things, but it's very easy to trade based off of, beginner principles. If you can master those, that's it. If you want to go out and start doing the Fibonacci retracements afterwards, that's fine, but maybe don't start there, right? Let's start with the basics, which we've all got you covered here. So, potential rejection here, like we've seen on that 15-minute. Let's get that down here to compare. Right, first we rejected, and then we retested and broke through. So we could very much have a rejection here, come back down to the 200, and then go through again. If not, then we've got our 1-day 50 to look for, right? That's going to be the dark blue here. if we can clear this order block, right, then our next level that I'll be looking for will be re-challenging. This is a bearish breaker block, right? So we're going to need to re-challenge that and hopefully invalidate that. If not, again, a very common area for rejection. Now, I know that's not what people want to hear, but it's the reality of things, right? So be really careful with everything. I do have some thoughts on that, where if like it's one thing to be green on your options now, and as I've said before, we want to be scaling these out, taking our profits into earnings and only holding maybe 10% of them, 15% if you got the big cojones through the earnings call for the lottos, right? Because you're going to get crushed 90% of the time, and it's better to compound these gains, right? However, if you were dead set on that, and if you were looking to roll these profits as you take them out into something, I think the warrants are going to be a good option, because then you can dodge the volatility crush, right, that you would see post earnings, while still holding a derivative-based exposure to a potential gap up and run. So that is on the table for us as we get into this area that's a little bit spooky, because if we reject here and you're long on your option call, you're going to get absolutely obliterated, and it's going to be, oh, poor me again, right? But if you scale out along the way, lock in some of those profits into the earnings call, which is, not been announced yet, but it should be soon. If it does reject, which it looks like, it could. These are common places for rejection, both within this 4-hour order block as well as this bearish breaker block / 1-day 50 EMA, right? It is what it is, right? I'm never going to paint a picture that's too rosy when it's not. I know a lot of people like to do that just to get you hyped up, get you in the video, but you do need to exit these trades as well. You can't hold them forever. I wish you could, but unfortunately, you do have to ride the waves appropriately based on our entry models, right? So I'm saying this again because I'll recap this. I said it yesterday as well. When we had such a massive retracement in our RSI last time, right here, we rallied into earnings, right? We had a massive sell-off, and then we rallied into earnings. And then earnings came out, and we bled down even more, okay? So we have a massive RSI retracement coming up, more than we did before, I'll admit. That part's looking good, right? Well, not really, because we came all the way up to the 50 before we dumped. And we're kind of there. Anyways, we dumped down even harder after this RSI recovery off this super duper hard low into new lows on the stock price, right? So we have that same pattern plus some points of rejection, right, that we're looking at here. So keep that in mind. And that's why you need to scale out your profits, reduce your risk. If you still want to hold lottos, that's fine. If you want to maybe roll a percentage of these profits into the warrants for the Hail Mary earnings call, sure, I get it, but don't expect much. And be aware that this is very much on the table for you, okay? Don't be buying any options that you're looking to hold through earnings, because IV is elevated, right? We're not down low. We're not super high either, but, be aware that everything does need to be scaled out here. So aside from that, someone's buying calls and they want you to think it's kitty. It's definitely not. Out of the money as well. What are these 21.5s? Those are okay. The 23s, I'm not a super duper fan of those, maybe a little bit further out of the money. But if we see price improvement, that's fine. These aren't the worst, right? These are pretty good if they go. The delta on them is obviously super duper low, but technically speaking, we had the bullish reversal signal, right? So we should see price improvement, and today we did. So, if I was this person, I would probably be scaling these out, because it's good to be aware of the general market as well. Let's go to the 1-day chart here, or even the 15-minute. We're at a point on the broader market, on the S&P 500, of common place of rejection. This is a solid downtrend. This could break down right here, and it's going to send the rest of the market down with us, and this could be our highest point, okay? So I know that's more bearish sentiment for everyone. But, if I was this person, I would definitely be scaling those out on this trend line, okay? Because we may reject here, and then these are short dated. They're out of the money. Those are the two things we don't like. However, if you bought them the other day and you had today's price improvement, you're sitting pretty, right? You're doing very well for yourself. Just make sure to sell those. And if you're seeing that, make sure not to buy them because that play's already been had and you'll be buying their sells, okay? Probably something you might not want to do. So talk about that. Everybody wants you to think it's Kitty. It's definitely not. Aside from that, we had, Buddy's DD, which the first one I didn't appreciate because he was talking about buying out of the money calls, which drives me nuts because how much money has this community lost because it's insane. Well, not everybody's lost. Uh-oh. Today we're talking about the carry trade, so I'll go through this tomorrow as we've got more time, and then I'll probably complain about it a whole bunch. But just be aware where you get these articles that are so well put together, that A, it was probably done with AI and there's no base understanding and could very much be incorrect, or B, this person knows way too much to be your friend. I assure you that. So take it with a grain of salt. However, the education part of it, I don't mind, right? Because then you can, decide for yourself whether or not it holds weight, right? It's when they couple it. They're like, ooh, look at this fancy information. And also these out of the money calls at the same time, right? And then, monkey see, monkey do. They're like, oh, I want to get some out of the money calls too. And then, you don't see the other part of the trade and they're just, they may show that they bought 5,000, but in reality, they've also sold 30,000 of them. So round and round we go. However, I love the information. I just got to say it how it is. IV chilling, utilization down, which is good. GMEU off reg show, which is pretty decent. So we get uppies there typically. And earnings is not announced yet, which is cool. I also thought about these physical power packs. You got to get these. Man, I'm a Canadian. I can't get these. Someone's got to get these. A first edition, a second edition, a third edition, a fourth edition, all sealed, unopened on the shelf. Get these. Man, you want a collector's item? If GameStop squeezes these, and if GameStop squeezes because of the power pack revenue, these physical power packs are going to be worth so much money in the future as you can't get them anymore. Oh, man. So go out, get yourself a power pack, get two. One to open for yourself. Well, get a whole bunch. Let's be honest. Give them out for Christmas, baby. And 'tis the season, right? And but save a couple and maybe tell the people that they should maybe save theirs as well because, GameStop's kind of turning into a bit of a collector's company. I don't know if you've heard the news. Aside from that, I mentioned Steam, and now I obviously know GameStop's not going to morph into Steam overnight, but I want to talk about the runway on that, from Half-Life to the Steam machine and Steam and, this powerhouse of a technology company that it's become, right? But it's, it takes 25 years, it takes 30 years to accomplish a lot of this from start to finish. So the runway is long. That's why we do the earnings for everybody, so you can increase your share count as you hold on for the infinity squeeze, which I hate to say this, will take an infinity amount of time as well. It's not just one, it's both of them, right? So keep yourself busy, learn how to trade based off the technicals. If you get any real hype from Ryan or Kitty, then you can trade that as well. But you kind of ignore the rest of it, even ignore me, no, I'm just kidding. Very much looking forward to growing the community for everyone so they can win here as well. Not charging for anything either. And if you win, come back and donate. I appreciate that, of course. But, I want to make sure that everybody gets winning as this becomes a more serious thing. Because, as GameStop becomes a profitable company, there are like a whole generation of people got rich off Tesla calls. It's not that hard, specifically when a company's firing on all cylinders and is no longer being attacked. You can just buy weeklies blindly at the money weeklies, and you say, "Oh wow, 100%, that's fantastic," And a day will come that GameStop will be like that, right? So let's get everybody up to pace and running around the track before that day comes, and then they'll excel, right? So that's that. Looking at the Kitty charts, the 4-hour PMO is going to be hella converged at this point. We were looking for that yesterday, diverging, we see that these separating, which is really nice, which is good for the 1 day, right? And then we see the cross here. Perfect. Exactly what we wanted to happen yesterday, happening today. Let's see that hold, and then we'll re-challenge our PMO smoothing line. So a lot of work to do, but things look pretty good. If we can kind of invalidate that downtrend on the S&P 500, if we can potentially invalidate this downtrend on the RSI, or at least test it, that would be interesting. But have that 4-hour hold and then have the 1-day hold. Again, every indicator is a lagging indicator. Anyone who says this is going to happen because of this is like, well, probably there's a good chance, and that's why we have the indicators, but absolutely not a chance. There is no way. So yeah, things look good here. Still trading at a discount to the markets, which aren't we always? Isn't GameStop always at a discount? It'll always be at a discount. When won't it ever be at a discount to the market, right? And we've seen posts the other day saying that, GameStop's negative beta is holding it above all of these other asset classes, when in reality it's not. GameStop's trading at a discount to these other asset classes, right? More Buck the Bunny maybe this weekend. We'll do World 3. So that's pretty cool. I hope you've been enjoying that. The game's a lot harder than I thought it was. Or I'm just getting old, I guess. I don't know. And chilling, taking it day by day. Again, if you're in this trade, if you've got some profits, you can look at scaling them out. You don't have to wait for me to say sell, for example, right? If you've got 40%, and you can sell 20% just to lock it in, right? Because this can turn and has turned against me before, but I'm going to do my best. I'm still holding full size. I'm waiting for the earnings announcements to come, and then I expect maybe an algorithmic buy-in or an institutional buy-in to push us up even higher. The IV goes up, and then we start scaling out, right? To everybody who's like panic, GameStop earnings tonight, I better get some calls, right? That's crazy. Don't be that guy. Sell to that guy, and you can roll those profits into the warrants if you still want the exposure through the call. And then again, we're looking if we get an earnings dump, if we get an S&P 500 pullback off the downtrend. If not, then the PMO on the 1-day is going to guide us home, and we can make another run at this. And maybe we get another bond offering or something up at 30. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, and I'll be here for it. So again, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. 1,000 subscribers. We're going to open up the Discord. I'm currently onboarding mods to take care of you hooligans. And then we'll do maybe some lives here on the YouTube channel for December as well. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching. Have a magical day, and I'll see you soon in the next.